Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case, and welcome if you're currently here in the live chat. If you haven't already watched my previous video, make sure to do so. There's a map analysis one, okay, and also trying to look for bunkers and using more of the sphere 360-degree imagery to get an idea of certain peaks, points, and see what's present. A few interesting findings and some interesting buildings as well. There should be a link down below in the comment section, the pinned one, if you want to check that out. Probably going to continue on today with that at the moment because with all the disruption and noise earlier from next door, not exactly in the zone to be doing the other video I was going to do. So there you go. Google Earth, going to be looking at spheres. Might have look at Wendover because I've not done that part yet. See if there is additional places in Lucin to look at, which I didn't include in the previous video. And we'll just see what shows up, because whether it be a cave, an abandoned building, it could help, you never know. That might be where Dylan is. It could be where some of the suspects have been previously, whether it be trying to look out for places of interest to store stashes of items, firearms, evidence, who knows, it could be anything, anything's possible, right? I think before we get into that, I said in the chat you can share your thoughts, opinions and reactions to whatever and everything about the case, right? That's welcome. Before we get into that, just a few little questions here and there, or points I just want to talk about, okay, which are relevant to the Dylan Rounds case and probably currently right now. So whilst you got Ty and Lance doing their thing, boots on ground, mainly in Montello side, mountain region, looking for clues, mines, mine shafts, possible bunkers, all that, which is helpful. Other groups have done it in the Lucin side, so it all makes sense. You know, this is the thing, they have received criticism, and I'm sure there'll probably be more along the way, and you can't really stop it. They're out in the open, they're kind of in the middle of it, they're gonna receive fire from all angles. That's just how it goes. But some of the criticisms, is that how you say it? Criticisms could be aimed at them as, oh, they're dragging things out, they're constantly searching but not finding anything. They know Dylan isn't there, but they're still going out there recording to benefit in some way or another. They're the type of complaints and critiques made by other people. To me, the way I see it is they're out there, in a way, risking their lives, or at least Lance's, depends, because I know Ty Corbin doesn't really go into the caves, which is understandable, but he's still there to support, to aid, assistance, all that, which is good, which is loyal and respected, okay? If these criticisms were true, which I don't think they are, but if there were, which people have said, you know, Lance is going into some very dangerous mines, entrances, some drops, loose rocks, small entrances within where it could like collapse in on itself, it could fill up and you can't get back out. You know, it's not a walk in the park, so there's quite a level of effort put in when doing that type of stuff, exploring, searching, looking at every angle, entrance, going into the hardest of mines, and even if they look a bit sketchy, still trying to get in them as well, recording too. So there is great levels of effort, as well as just simply getting around the area. I know they'll have like cars or buggies, but you know, walking up and down the slopes where it's a bit uneven and rough, you know, it's not done for pure fun and excitement like that. There's serious reasons to why they're doing it. And in their mindsets, they believe that Dylan could be in those areas, and that's why they're going there. So that kind of explains that. Now, aside from just them, an overall talk has been, and I don't know if it's been said in like a joking way or like genuine, people have said, oh, most people that are within this case, who investigate it, have a criminal record or something like that. I don't know if that's true or not. I know some people have said, well, you can't just go around throwing all these claims about. I know. Who has a criminal record though, or has been arrested in the past? I've heard Salty Pancakes has been arrested in the past. I have no clue what for, what crime he committed. Do any of you know what he did back then, which got him in trouble? It's one of those things where it's a certain crime and it could tie in with this case or certain levels of resistance. Then I can understand why some people might be a bit wary and cautious, but me personally, I don't know. I don't know because I just don't know. Okay. Is there anyone else that has criminal records who are engaging within the case? Leave your thoughts down below if you know. But to be honest, it's one of those things where if it was the case, in some way, it might be some kind of, what do you call it, pattern, form of relating to the case in some way. Because look, Kenny Veach. Kenny was a spiritual person. Certain family members were spiritual. Certain corrupt individuals, potential dodgy people such as the girlfriend, was spiritual as well. And then you had all these YouTubers coming in here and there, and mainly viewers, moreover, who had connections spiritual as well, or interest into spirituality. So that was the overall theme within the case. Very deep rooted, okay? So could with the Dylan Rounds case, aside from the whole relating to farming, if people are involved in that sort of work themselves, could be something to do with criminality, a criminal past, true crime, and that's how people relate to the case in some way because they've been involved themselves in the past. I don't know. Just another way of looking at it. Now, what else is there to mention? Linking back to the mine shafts and Lance and Ty being out there, the question and points I want to put forwards right now to you in the chat is, whilst they're out there searching, you know, they've been saying there's footprints in the ground, fresh tracks, tyre marks, and it's like, okay, let's say they have been created by other people, but who? Who else would be out there in a mountainous area or in the middle of nowhere? What are they doing? Is it just people trying to salvage for items and scrap? Is it people mining in the area, possibly? Is it official people? Is it criminals? I don't know. It's unknown. It's one of those things where when you tie it to the Kenny Veach case, you look at Joe May Canyon, where Kenny was supposedly last known to be. And it's in the middle of nowhere. It's not a popular hiking place. It's not even really a tourist attraction. And for the most part of it, it's like not even an official, it's not even an official trail, you know, for general public to come by. So for the most part of it, really, no one goes there. And the only people that did go there were hikers looking for Kenny Veach, right? That was really the only reason. And majority of people that did go there looking for Kenny did record themselves, document it too, which is useful because you can do like a logbook and check who's in, who's out, who was last within the area. Did they do anything? Did they move anything? Like when Jay Silverheels went there, he like put a can down, like a beer can, and some loose coins as a form of paying respect to Kenny Veach. Now, if Silverheels never did that or recorded it or mentioned it in his videos, then it's like no one would ever know. And then it would be a mystery. Oh, who's been here? You know, who else could it be? And that's what doesn't help, that unknown, that uncertainty. Just like in 2018 when a group of guys hiked out there, descending into the mine shaft and broke the ladders and the structuring of it, and they did record it but didn't upload it and they didn't say anything. But then in 2021, because I kept covering it and referring back, they eventually broke their silence, got an answer with evidence, and it was explained, loose ends tied up, mystery regarding that over, because before that there was people confused, some people coming up with theories, conspiracies. Oh, has it been tampered with? Is it made to hurt someone, take someone out? All kinds of dark thoughts, which is not good. So when you tie it to the Dylan Rounds case, and sure, it's a desert area, it's vast, it's open, there will be, spots for people to camp out and hike. Maybe that's the explanation, but it's the uncertainty, When you look at Ty and Lance, if they were really the only people out there and you went yourself and found footprints or tracks, you'd think, oh, Ty and Lance, why are they out there? Specifically looking for Dylan Rounds or evidence in association to the case. And then it's like, well, that's explained. But who else, though, aside from them? Other people looking for Dylan? Maybe. Don't know. That level of uncertainty, if you know, leave your thoughts down below. Who do you think is responsible for the track marks, the footprints in the ground? I guess with Lucin, that was explained, right? With the interview by the mob crew, Chris and Candice talking. And those track marks in the wash, as well as the surrounding area, was by search and rescue and law enforcement. But this is the thing, at what point do those track marks, footprints wear out? They're not going to be there since like 4 months ago, are they? The weathering, flooding, rain, dust, clouds, all kinds of temperatures. Eventually those footprints and tracks will wear away, fade out, right? Surely. So for Ty and Lance to come across those in Montello, in a mountainous area, let's say, must be recent time or so, okay? And if it's recent time, then it's less likely it's the suspect or one of the suspects, because one, the likes of Brenner, is in jail, so he can't be creating those footprints. Possibly other groups of people who might be involved in the case, maybe, but why now? Why are they in that area? Dylan most likely would have been disposed of back then, months ago, so I don't know why criminals would be doing something now all of a sudden, going in these areas, if that's how it was being interpreted, right? As well, some of these footprints and track marks that might lead up to a cave, a mine shaft mainly. You go into it like how Lance did, looking around, and it's like, well, there's not much really here, There's no indication anyone's been buried here or anything suspicious has gone on. One of Lance's most recent videos, there was actually activity for the first time in a mine, and it looked like people were working in there. I don't know if it's officials, a company, or just random, just everyday locals in the area trying to make some money, grab some resources and sell. I don't know. But it seemed a bit more official, like they were making an attempt to mine. Okay, that could explain some of the track marks, maybe some of the footprints, But then other places further out, maybe northeast, southwest, and it's like, well, who's created them? Because it's one of those things where if it's a populated area, any form of most forms of activity won't seem that surprising. But then if you're in the middle of nowhere, where for most part of it no one goes to and there's no real reason to visit, then it becomes a little bit more odd. And it's one of those things where when it comes to certain objects found in areas and environments, what would be a good example? Because it was a true one. You've got a red paintbrush in a town, in a city, and it's just dumped on the ground. You walk past it and you think, oh, I guess someone forgot about it. You walk past it again another day or in a week's time, it's no longer there. And it's like, whatever. You repeat that scenario, but in Montello, Bald Eagle mountain range, in one of the small mine shafts or the horizontal mines. There's a red paintbrush on the ground. Lance goes in, sees it. A few weeks or so later, goes back, it's no longer there. It's like, oh, well, that is very strange. You start thinking, has someone been here since? And why? What are they doing here? Do they know something? Are they watching? That type of feeling. To Lance's point of view at the time, he thought it probably was a mouse or a rat, whichever one that might have took it, which I guess is possible because they might have been building it for a den, but it depends how you think at the time. And that was just one example, but you see how I mean? Like, you focus on meaningless objects more. You look more into meaningless objects when they're in peculiar places. And then it is a form of activity in which they're altered with or just straight up disappear. You focus on them more when they're in an out of place environment compared to in an everyday setting. Does that make sense? Another example, and it's a past one now, just picked up on it recently when I was looking at the odd clip. Jim Terry was mentioning that aside from the boots being found out there, near the grain shed, 300 yards at the dirt mound round the back of it. Okay, we've heard about that. But Jim Terry also said that there was a watermelon or a piece of a watermelon out in the desert. And he said that's quite an important thing. One of those where, in a way, I can understand, not pissing about. It is a bit out of place. It's a fruit, isn't it? I don't want to appear as an idiot. It's a fruit, right? And it's just laying there as a whole? Is it cut in half? Is it just a portion of it? Has it been obliterated? Because, you see videos on YouTube, the gun channels where they test guns out and they might use a watermelon, play it, record it, fire at it, and then replay in slow motion to watch it just burst like that, I don't know what the condition of the watermelon was, but for it to be out there in the first place, because you're not going to be growing watermelons there, are you? Not with that environment, with the weather and everything like that. And Dylan wasn't, growing or, holding watermelons. So what's it doing there? Does Dylan even eat watermelons? That's another thing you've got to take in mind. Does Jim Brenner eat watermelons, right? Because if no one does, it's like, well, it's got here somehow. Someone's responsible for putting it there. Whether they just placed it there or forgot about it, maybe. I don't know. But I guess the only way you'd look at it would be if the people that live on the land or near aren't responsible for it, then it must be an outsider. And if it's an outsider, could it be an outsider that took out Dylan? So I guess just different ways of looking at it, to be fair, Is there anything else to be looking at or questioning? It's one of those things where with this case, and I guess with any case, how does it work? You might get a build-up, or let's say the activity levels of a case, it might be very high at the beginning, obvious, because it's only just come out. Developments, new findings, bits and bobs, really high. Might slowly decline a bit, and then it's back up and down, like a graph, okay? And then at some point, it could end as a cliffhanger, because there's no more evidence, no more leads. Then it stagnates, it might even decline in interest, activity levels, and it's like that. But what I try and do, moments where it does reach that point where it's not really going anywhere, you got to try and then step in and it's either looking at new environments and new locations. Okay, I haven't forgotten that. There are some, 2 or 3, that can be looked at, and I want to save that for a standalone video because it's fairly important, okay? Person very recently, I think it was today, either today or just yesterday, said about another location near Montello to look at, and I'm like, yeah, that can be done. Might be able to tie it in with the odd other location which is within the same like town or area. So if they've not been searched, then they can be searched. Or if they have been, or some of them have, people can reply back on the videos and then just try and create new leads, locations to search, stuff like that. And it's not always about looking at new things or new places. You can look back as well, because whether it be footage, news articles, some of the videos as well, because people have done that before, looking back just to replay them. Is there any information that's been missed? Has anyone like gone over, missed anything important to fill in the blanks? All that. And sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't, but no harm in trying, right? It's not going to cause any trouble. So yeah, that's all that can be said like at this moment in time. It's kind of just previous, you had a bit of activity going on, the whole drone situation, positivity around that, the LE publicly speaking out for once as well, the new flyer, quite a bit of activity going on, technically speaking. Has it enticed, has it brought back other YouTubers covering the case? Not really, no. Other YouTubers have moved on to other cases, mainly the Kylie Rodney one, which is, I said, Zav Girl, kind of no thanks, Tyler Feller mainly, that they've moved on there, doing their thing. As for some of the other channels like Jim, Terry, Pancakes, Shack Lady, yes, they are covering the Dylan Rounds case in some way, but not as full on, because they're also just talking about a range of other stuff as well, whether it's everyday life things or stories, anything and everything. And I guess the positive, or the thing you acknowledge with the likes of the Shack Lady and kind of Pancakes as well, and even Jim Terry, is whilst they can talk about the Dylan Rounds case and have an audience, they can maintain that audience and, you know, have consistent numbers as well, such as viewers, when talking about completely other things, you know? Because let's be realistic here, because there's no point messing around. Yes, cover the Dylan Rounds case, or cover Kenny Veach, or cover another case or another case. In terms of my videos, it's got to be on a case of a person, providing there's valid material. Okay, that's the most important part. Providing there's valid material, make a video on that case or that case, whatever. Depends which one I'm locked in at the time. And that's what I do. But the moment I transition on to something else, it dies. It goes flat, okay? What's best example? Okay. Best example, Kenny Veach at the time. That's basically where the channel grew from. Despite being active since 2013 to the end of 2019 meant nothing. It meant nothing. It was dead, okay? So the channel was created, did grow because of Kenny Veach, and it's been able to branch out since, which is a positive, to be fair. But in terms of other areas, other elements, like a different topic, different theme, fully equipped with all that type of stuff, all kinds of different videos, but they flop. They are dead. I'll use them when I want, out of fun, most definitely, because they're not important. The most important videos, regardless of the stats as well, are the mystery ones, because if something needs to be solved, It's unfortunate, one of those things though, where if you've got interruptions in between, like next door and stuff, or whatever else is going on in the background, if their level of accuracy is lacking or the performance isn't quite there, but an important message needs to be delivered, you need to put everything aside and try and get that message across, whether it be an update, a news piece. Back then, when it came to the Kenny one, and I was in contact with one of the Veach family members, quite important, right? And even when I was like, oh, a bit pissed off or, oh, not focused today, it's like, well, tough shit. This person's got an important update about Kenny or about certain developments within the case. You know, you need to make a video on that so then the general public knows as well, because it's important. Same procedure follows with Dylan rounds, right? So sometimes I guess I try and do a bit of a hybrid where I might include the odd side bit of material or side personality or behaviour, because if it's a standalone one, it just doesn't work in my case, in my reality. But the likes of the Shack Lady, Salty Pancakes and Jim Terry, they can both do the case, but also other completely different things and maintain the volume. So they do a good job and they are far more consistent than me. I'm far more consistent in Dylan Round's coverage, but statistically speaking, they are more consistent and more successful. So whatever they're doing right and they're doing well. And it should work out for them, hopefully. Not in terms of the corruptness, because I know some people will have negative opinions towards certain people, but I'm not talking about that part, okay? So that all aside, right? Anything else to mention? Yes, like the odd person has come along, left a comment on some of my videos saying, hey, you appeared in the chat saying this and that. And I'm like, what? Who's this? Who's that? What's the name of that? I've never heard of. And it's because of the fake accounts. So what's happening now is you're getting actual viewers or mods on a channel that came across the fake impersonation of me. They type my username in, or I guess they type it in, or they copy and paste it into YouTube search. I come up because I'm really the only one on YouTube with that username. And then they see the channel, they click on it, click on one of my latest videos, leave a complaint saying, hey, why did you come at me? Why are you acting all weird? And then I'm like, well, it wasn't me. It's a fake account. So that's probably going to happen here and there. And, you know, it's one of those things where some people say keep quiet or just ignore them. But you can't ignore them, you know, random humans who are confused and caught in the middle between the fake accounts and the real accounts. They need to be informed, right? Because if they're not informed, they might end up reporting the wrong person. They might end up shutting me down without them knowing the actual truth. So there's no harm in just explaining and just saying a simple message of, hey, sorry to hear you went through that. It's got nothing to do with me. I guess just be more aware and alert of other people out there in between. All kinds of stuff can happen. And yeah, bye. And then they know from there on. And done it with some channels. So yeah, I mean, this is one thing I wanted to do. But then I keep forgetting, or I just don't do it because I don't really have an alternative. I was going to change my profile picture to a different one because I've done that before. And it's like, well, I don't want to really do it now, because if I change my profile picture now, and then if I go on another person's stream and I say, hi, yeah, they'll see my username, but they'll see my profile picture, and then I'll be questioned. Are you the real person or not? Or are you a fake? And then that's going to happen every time, right? And then aside from that, might just get instantly blocked. You know, if there's strictness and high alert levels, it's like you don't want to change certain visuals, the channel art, the profile picture, or even the username, or even the fonts, because you'll just be questioned and there'll be even more confusion. So you want to try and keep it as consistent as possible, right? So until things like quieten down, which could be months, then maybe I can change stuff, but not now. It's not worth the risk, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that's it for the discussion part within the case and the current ongoings, both the search for Dylan, the suspects, and, you know, other kinds of community related issues in between. Will other YouTubers return back? Most likely. whether it be to do with the drone footage or the court case, court trials, the outcome, whatever it is to do with, you know, like the likes of Brenner, right? As well, I did actually upload a video earlier, and it was to do with Chase Venstre, right? You want to check it out, feel free. I'll provide a link down below in the pinned comments. It's just like tying it in with like the law enforcement and Venstre, and then that lie detector test, okay? So it's just worth questioning. Is there anything else? Yes. Two things, two just random questions. So, if you had two different YouTubers, and I'm not really saying Lance and Ty because they're just doing it helping the community, but if you had two other YouTubers who may hate each other, let's say, have some disagreements, and they found Dylan in some way, or they found another suspect that then led to the conviction, whichever the conditions are that are met, which then equals reward money. In your opinion, in the chat, if two individuals who hate each other were both responsible equally, I guess, for finding Dylan's remains, who gets the reward money? Is it split down the middle? Each one gets $100,000? Or is it going to be like a level of competition or some kind of resistance in which one person says, no, you don't deserve the 100,000, I deserve 200,000, and then the other person goes back and forth and complains? Do you think that would happen? I mean, the people that are most likely to find Dylan would be Lance and Ty, because they're actively out there most of the time, as well as living out there. So yeah. As for other people, like the mob crew, they don't live in the area, if I'm correct in saying, and they've got to go down and visit the place, which they don't do all the time because it's not practical, the cost of it, as well as, you know, doing other things in the background. So that's understandable. But is there any levels of competition, nastiness going on, or that could happen at some point in the future? That's what I want to know. And also, the next question I have, if Dylan's remains were found somewhere out there in the desert, in a cave, mineshaft, wherever, even buried, and you stumbled across them, what do you do? And, you know, that might sound like a bit of an odd question, but if you've heard all the stories about the LE and how they've handled things, and let's say you were under the impression that you've heard stories about the LE covering for certain criminals within the case and not arresting people when they should be arrested, and letting the main suspect move and take and compromise evidence. It's like, do you really want to contact the LE after hearing all that? You know, you've just come across Dylan's remains. This is situational, okay? Not actually happening right now. But you've come across Dylan's remains. You don't want to touch it because you don't want to ruin the evidence. And part of you just wants to rush to Candice or Justin, whoever, with the body in hand and say, here you go, here's closure, let's try and get justice right now. But obviously there's a procedure, right? You got to follow things through formally. In most situations, probably call the police, might call paramedics, I don't know. I guess it depends what state the individual's in. If it's complete remains, skeletal, like that, probably just the police, okay? And they come along, and then whatever happens after that. Might bring in backup, a body van, who knows, forensics, crime scene, tape it off. If it's buried in the ground, like excavate it in a way, like archaeologists. There'll be a procedure, and it might take a little bit of time to do. But, you know, I've got bad feelings that if the LE were called and the LE went down there, either they probably would drag it out at the start and be like, oh yeah, you found remains, haha, yeah, good one, yeah, good luck, and then that's it. And you've got to like say, hey, Dylan's remains are here, are you not listening? You know, that type of behaviour, slow on the move, not reacting quick, not taking action immediately. We've already seen it when, at the time, when Kurt phoned the parents and said, hey, I've heard about the intel that Dylan is held captive in Montello. Hearing that news for the first time back then, you would have jumped and leaped and been like, damn, he's alive, he's there. You know, you'd be very hopeful, but also frantic in trying to get there as soon as possible to prevent Dylan getting hurt, right? But there's still a procedure there, and that's why Candice and Justin tried contacting and informing the LE about it, and the LE just basically said good luck to him. Like, they had to go down themselves, and then Justin saying, right, if you're not going to do anything, I'll go down myself and take action. And then obviously the LE finally catched on and decided to go down. But it's that delay. No, like the lack of urgency, right? This is an important thing. Well, at the time it was. This could be it. This could be solved. And it was dragged out. So if you have more of a real event nowadays and you find the actual remains of Dylan, okay, and this is evidence, this can lead to a successful conviction, and it can also bring closure to the family. If things are dragged out, it could somehow impact the court case negatively, maybe. If the LE were present, recovering the body, could they maybe break a bone, steal a part of the body, contaminate it, pour something on so there's no DNA? You know, all that really dodgy stuff, because I really wouldn't be surprised. And, you know, people could say, oh, you're thinking a bit too far here or a bit too deep, but, you know, just in terms of the way I'm built, okay, very wary and cautious in most situations, partly reinforced by past experience way back then, but also with a case like this and the way the community can be at times with certain individuals within, and previous experience with the Kenny Veach one, you got to be cautious, question everything, and you know, even if it might comes off as being a bit stubborn or a bit awkward, it's like, whoa, you know, you don't want to go down the wrong path in thought, opinion, or choosing sides, because it can definitely screw you over and it can cause trouble, you know. So I guess it would be a difficult situation, right, if someone did find Dylan and it's like, oh, what do? Do I phone the parents first or not? Because they're kind of hot-headed. Do I tell Candice, or is she going to go off on one and get angry and then say you're fired, or start raging at the police again? Oh, do I phone the police now? Oh no, because they're probably going to drag things out, or they might even steal the body or contaminate it or ruin it in some way to hinder the conviction. It's like, who do you call? Where do you go? What do you do? You know, it's going to be one of those things, isn't it, where if anyone does find Dylan, it's going to be an extreme collection of emotions. You know, I don't know, it could be in any order, right? You find Dylan and you could be very excited for a couple of seconds, and then you could feel very negative or sad, and then you could be in shock. So I don't know what order it would be in, to be honest, but whoever finds him, then that's good, obviously, if that does happen. But at the same time, it's probably going to make them feel a bit negative as well. I know people have said that Ty Corbin has had past experience or something with people going missing. I don't really know much about that. But I think it's probably one of those things where if something like that did happen in the past and he's seen it firsthand, then it probably affects him more in terms of if he did find Dylan. But at the same time, in the meantime, it's the one thing that gives him the fuel and energy to push on and continue looking because of whatever happened in the past. So there's positives and negatives from it in terms of how the individual feels when they're out there. But yeah, so I think that really does explain all that part. Oh my God, it's 39 minutes. Right, anyway, let's get on to Google Earth now, okay? Because I just want to look at certain areas within Lucin, maybe Montello as well, if there is any. I know there's Wendover, the spheres, okay? not street view on the roads, but the spheres off-road. Might reveal buildings, it might reveal caves. We've already found some interesting spots. Let's see if we can find any more and go from there. So here we are. Don't know where we left off from last time. Oh boy, Sheep Peak, I remember now. Yeah, because last time I was trying to look for the mine shaft and I failed miserably. Definitely. Anyway, let's not get too focused into that because I probably won't stop. Anyway, Utah. Yeah, most of the time you see me already loaded in, zoomed in and everything. I used to do that when I was like, oh God, where are we? Because I don't know where we are. But now I can kind of home in now a bit more quicker and efficiently. Look for Salt Lake City, Ogden, and it's to the far left west. Across the Great Salt Lake over this way. Okay. That's the thing. I know you might get the updated satellite imagery, but do you still get the updated street view as well and the spheres? Or is it only limited, you know? Positives and negatives with Google Earth is it can be behind in date, but it does have the other features like the projects, the pinpoints, the measurements, all that creative stuff, which can make it easier to talk about as like presentation, you know? Whereas simple satellite imagery, although it's more relevant and up to date, if you don't have the other tools, it can make it hard to coordinate. So that's kind of a pain now, you know? Now, I've got to try and use my memory, okay? Because there's certain spots and areas which we would have looked at, like this one. We'll just double check. You see what I'm saying? That's the type of stuff what we've got to avoid. Does it get hard to remember it all? I guess so. In a way it does. You know, we've looked at the two down there, well, the three down there, it's mainly railway tracks. We'll just have, there's one near Spruce Mountain. I know, understandably, people may be like, yeah, but, you know, what you got to take in mind is, whilst out here, although you might be in Utah or although you might be in Nevada, you're going a bit too far south. You know, Dylan wouldn't be down there. But hey, you got to take it in mind. If the area has been extensively searched or key spots within Lucin and have not found anything, and let's say you apply that to Montello as well, you know, you got to think, right, we've got to expand. We've got to look further afar, right? The only thing you can do. I'm sure that there's still areas, though, in Lucin which need to be assessed or reassessed. Maybe Montello, possibly. I'm just thinking, do you know if you had a drone, okay, you know, the spectral one where it can check for soil disturbance, whilst it's definitely practical in Lucin, would it be of any use in Montello? Or would it be too problematic? Because if you've got quite a few people burying things, hiding stuff, and as well you've got mines and active mine shafts, let's just say, you're using that drone, it's going to be pinging crazy, isn't it? You get all kinds of leads, but also lots of disappointment. You think, oh, that land's been disturbed, soil disturbance here, there, everywhere. Let's take a look at each one. Oh, it's just a buried sock. Oh, someone's just buried a wheel. So that's how, yeah, that's like an obstacle, and you don't really want that, do you? So I don't know if there's a way to eliminate certain soil disturbance. I don't know if it's possible. But looking at this area, you can see track marks, but I think it's likely from that vehicle there. Interestingly, some people did say that they did report seeing this in a past video. A couple of people said that, and it's interesting because it's like, well, who else is out there in this area? Was it to do with Dylan, or was it an older video? How, when you look at Kenny Veach, there are people exploring Sheep Range, Sheep Peak, from like 8-9 years ago. Got nothing to do with Kenny Veach, but they were just out there hiking, but you can still use it as a reference point. And I think it was a bit spooky because the odd individual out there who was in the range of Kenny, not looking because they were doing their own hiking, and I think it was before Kenny went missing. I'm sure one of the persons passed away, so the channel's been inactive since. That's kind of spooky. Yeah. And that's the other thing, just tying on from the surrounding area and landscape. When we were questioning about Heavy D's footage, the flyby, looking at Dylan's land, and it was like, well, what was missing, what was cut out, and why? And there was a few different responses, but one of the main ones was to do with that a body was found out there. Aside from the watermelon, a body was also found out there. And it's like, well, whose body, what age, what gender, how did they die? I don't know any of that. That's the problem. Oh shit, this is interesting. So we're taking that into mind. It's like, well, the more people out there going missing or being found dead, is there some kind of pattern going on? It's a bit odd, isn't it? How far away was that body from Dylan's grain shed? Is that body the person a local, a visitor? Was it natural causes, the environment? Were they killed by someone, homicide? I don't know, it's kind of dark, isn't it? The different ideas. Now we look here, and although it's further away, you look at the landscape, it's not the best quality. You got a really old abandoned wooden, do you call it a shack, a shed, some kind of homestead, maybe. You look on the left hand side here, although it's a bit pixelated, looks very abandoned. The roof has caved in on itself. I don't know if it's been set on fire, but you start seeing how old some of this stuff is, untouched. Maybe not this because it's on dirt road and it might be a place of interest to some people, but is this the type of location? Or no, scrap that. Is this the type of building where Dylan could have been taken to? I don't know. I think I'll have to ask Ty Corbin. If you remember Jim Brenner's burnt down trailer, the one in Montello, near to the mountain region. Not far from the mine, one of the main mines, Bald Eagle Mountain, if I'm correct in saying. In between those two, further to the right, it's hard to explain without showing it visually. There was that old barn, if you remember. Has anyone been there? I'll have to tell Ty or something, or Lance if they respond. I don't think Lance does respond. I mean, he said send an email to him, but I think when I did in the past, he didn't reply back, so I don't know if it will work. Maybe I can reply back to him, send him one and say, hey, provide the coordinates, because I can copy and paste that, and then let Ty know, because this is the thing, they are in the area, I am not. If I was to say to them, oh, you should go here and go there, and then I tell them this and that and provide coordinates, it's kind of an insult towards them because they're locals. They would know better, right? But I guess there's no harm in just saying, oh, I don't know if you already have been, but have you checked out here? Not the one on screen right now, but referring to that other barn, okay? Let's close that down. But that was an interesting find because whereabout was it? There. And when you zoom in, you can't really see anything. Well, there's like a little object there, but surrounded by the trees, you can't make much out. So it's surprising how much can be on the ground level. Even like structures still built or still kind of standing. So who knows what else could be present nearby. Anything else in between? You got Curry down there, which is supposed to do with Aiden. What about down here? Spiral jetty. Damn, look at that. That's a lot of stuff. Hey, is that in the water as well? I want to check that out briefly. What does it look like? Oh, okay, it's dried up. Fair enough. Quite a few footprints in the ground. That's because of them. Whoa, that's messing with my eyes. What's going on here? That is so weird. What's what? It looks so clear, but it looks like you're looking down an endless mirror. The brightness of it, the shimmering, the clouds up there and then the clouds reflecting in the water. You know, that's crazy. That's kind of like a mirror effect. That definitely messes with my eyes. Does it make you feel a bit dizzy? Oh, that's weird. I can understand them taking photos though. Makes sense. I know some of the imagery isn't quite aligned, but you know, it still looks a bit weird and very extensive. Just wanted to see because sometimes it can open up interesting spots. If there's a building nearby, okay, you might get a drone, but then you might get another which goes deeper. Look at that. Have you seen all this here? This is on, is this classified as Lucin still? Where are we facing? I guess it's to do with Lucin, and if it's not Lucin, it'll be Box Elder County. But what's this? Why is there so many dots here? Should I just click on one? Because they're not close together, I can't move around with the arrows. Oh, what's going on here? I'm getting a disco. Is this kind of like, what do you call it? I forgot what you call it. The one in Nevada. What they do where everyone goes out into the desert and dodgy stuff happens. And then people leave a lot of rubbish behind. I forgot what it's called. Oh my god, who's that? Ooh. Are they wearing a mask? Their face looks kind of like an alien. Ooh. I don't know. Is that a wig? Or is that their hair? I don't know. Okay, so kind of crazy this. It's very sparse. Maybe they're just setting it up. It must be some kind of event. Let's just try a different spot because I don't know why it's all spread out. The things that I find... Oh, it's John. Wait, is that the same guy that was in Lucin? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure that's the same guy. That's the same guy that was in Lucin, near the sun tunnels or near Dylan's place of living. That's kind of interesting. Gets around a bit. So, look, you see all the people camping out. And then the trailers as well. Yeah, and some of you will probably know all about this. I don't. Want to see, is there anything else? Got lots of trailers there. If the likes of some of the Montello people saw them, they'd probably be ransacking them all. Yeah, looks like they're setting it up. Okay. Because you can still see some of the containers out there, which must be there all the time. Maybe. Anywhere else I've not clicked on? Final one, I guess. I thought that was Tidan. Right, okay. What are they doing there? No clue. What's going on? To be honest, I'm confused. Where's the nighttime footage from? Why is that not showing? Like a tower. That kind of little bike. Seems to be a lot going on, right? Yeah. I can't seem to find that nighttime one. I don't know where I clicked on the screen. That's a shame. Leave your thoughts about this, I guess. Right, final one. Definitely the final one. Let's try that marker there. Come on. Come to night time. Go dark. Whoa. What's going on here? Why am I trapped? Why am I trapped in here? It's like a disco. Oh, that's weird. What's going on? Weird. Okay, well, whatever that is, there you go. Aside from all those dots, what's down here? Oh, is this just a red? Wait, it looks like there's like some kind of things going on in the area. Whoa. It should still be Lucin, I think. Bit disappointing. It's weird because when I looked at it on maps then, it looked like there was outlines of stuff, some kind of structures, and then on ground level it's very flat. That's disappointing. I thought there was going to be more going on. It looks like there's a van over there, randomly parked up, in a car. Don't know who they are. Or is it a parking bay? Could be. It's just like a load of fences and that's it. I mean, this is the thing. Wherever Dylan is, I can't imagine him being near to a dirt road. Not too nearby. It would seem a bit too obvious. Well, not to strangers though. But there's should be a level of concealment. But then again, you got to try and think. I know you can still take in mind the dirt mound and the farm itself, but let's just say Dylan was elsewhere, northeast, southwest, because the boots were just chucked. Not much effort or attempt was made to conceal them. It's as if it was an amateur job in disposing of evidence, you could say. If that was the case, then maybe the same outcome with hiding Dylan's body. It could be one of those things where it's possible to find, but just not in the area. It's elsewhere. I'm just taking that in mind with the boots. If the boots were just left in the open, could the body be, but elsewhere? I don't know. Worth taking in mind. Any other spots? Am I facing north? Yeah. Park Valley over that way. Have I done the one down here? Apologies if I do repeat myself with some of the locations. It is hard to remember. Okay. So this... Oh, shit. That made me jump then. What's he doing? I'm confused. At least his legs are attached to his body. I don't know. Is that event? Do you know the event what we saw earlier? The nighttime one with the person with the wig on and that camping thing. These people are from there. But is it like some kind of dodgy get-together or something where all kinds of frisky activities take place? Or is it like an actual festival? I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised. And who are those people in the background? Oh, what's this? Mount Insurmountable. Highest natural peak in... What's that say? Zadistan? Afghanistan? I don't know. Highest natural peak. Not much of one unless it's the gradient or are they taking the piss? I'm not too sure. Have any of you seen this? Mount Insufferable? Mount Insurmountable? I don't know how you say it. Right, are we going to get any... Oh, God. A tripod there. That's bigger than mine. Okay. Are we going to get any more jump scares? Because I'm not And it's getting to Halloween. Oh, wow. What are all this? We might as well just check them out while we're here, so I don't forget. Different people this time, and it's where it's snowy. I assume they're dog prints. Oh, wow. Wow, there's a lot of people there in the middle of nowhere. Damn. Oh, you got a hole there as well. Is that animal? Wildlife? Creating a hole like that in the ground? This is the other thing. Wow, so you got the likes of Lance exploring, and you find the odd bone fragment. It's kind of like, ooh, this is interesting. But is it any raise for concern if it's just a piece of a bone and there's nothing nearby? You know, like with the Kenny Veach case, if you found a bone fragment, you might look into it deeper because there's the possibility that if a person did die out there and then animals ate the remains of the individual and then eventually, due to weathering and everything, decomposing, the bones would remain, but the likes of mountain lions out there could rip parts of the body off or bones and take them to a cave nearby. The body could be spread out for miles, you never know. But if you're in Lucin and the wildlife isn't as dangerous, it's less likely for bones to be spread out, right? Because the wildlife isn't there to do it. Okay. Who are these people? Some guy's got a Christmas hat on. Looks like there's some signs as well. And what's that person doing? A kite? A box? A ceremony? A ritual? I don't know. Do any of you know what that is? What's going on? I'm confused, but there's a dip in the ground down there with a pole stuck in. Is it a sacrifice? I don't know. There's quite a few people, isn't there, though? Where did they all come from? Let's just... what's that there? Is that like a pyramid? Oh no, where's it gone? I want to check this out. I'm interested. Whoa, what's going on here? Oh no, don't tell me that person's going to jump out of nowhere. Where is he? Where's he? Oh, he's not there. Oh no, what's that on the floor? Ugh, I don't know. What's that? Now, is this kind of like with Nevada, with the whole extraterrestrial and aliens and weird objects and architectural designs out there, monuments? Wait, didn't you have the monolith in Utah? Was it there? Somewhere in Utah there was a monolith which just appeared in the ground and people visited and took photos of. Do you remember that news article? And then at a later point it disappeared and then it was found elsewhere. Do any of you remember that? I remember something like that. Got a red box over there. I don't know what that's for. You've got... Whoa, why does that's sandbags? A bunker? What's a bunker doing out there? Is this like airsoft, maybe? Like an airsoft base? And that's like a monolith of some sort? Metal sheeting, I guess? And then right at the top, it's like a robot arms and a head. Just like artwork. Isn't it a bit weird to come across that in the middle of nowhere? Oh, that's weird. All kinds of stuff going on in this area. And this is like Lucin or near to Lucin. I really wasn't expecting to come across this type of stuff. Okay, what else is there? Welcome to the Republic of Zakristan. Oh, is it like a play on words of Afghanistan? Is it like a makeshift war scene? Play on words, Zakistan, Afghanistan, Iraq. Is that what it means? it must be because you had the bunker with the sandbags. Is this like the 2003 Iraq War, Operation Iraqi Freedom Solution 241442 or something, where they went to find Saddam Hussein? They couldn't find him, and he was in a safe house, and it focused on a table where there was a load of Mars bars and a watermelon. Yeah, there was watermelon and Mars bars at Saddam Hussein's safe house. I don't know, it must be. This must be like some kind of weird art project. Obviously, some of you might already know by now. They've got the rainbow flag. Right, so interesting, I guess. The area, a bit weird, bit dodgy. Something like this probably wouldn't be where Dylan would be, not at all, because this is more of like a tourist attraction in a way, isn't it? Oh, that's someone's wallet. Look, sandbags, I was right. What the hell is that doing there? Whose is that? Is that some kind of flare? Light? Lens? That's weird. That is weird. You see the side of it as well, the sheet, and it goes up. Skateboarding? Just odd. Very odd. Maybe it's got something to do with that festival. Anywhere else? Final point of view. Oh god, there's another one there. Are they supposed to be legs? Ammunition boxes? Is it turning war material or something into art? I don't really know what's going on, but I definitely know I need to get out of here, because that person wearing that hat is a little bit dodgy. Okay? You gave me a bit of a jump scare earlier. We've done that one. We've done that one. That was the festival. I'm still interested to see, can I find the nighttime photo or not? There you go, I found it. Oh god, those two people. Hopefully they're not... Okay, it's not going against anything. Yeah, this is kind of weird. This definitely looks like some ritual. Oh my god, look at that. And then all the lights out there. There's a fire out there. I can imagine someone being burned alive, man. This ain't right. It's a cult. Not welcome here. We're in danger. We need to get out right now. The WLW Angels are not visiting there unless got some bulletproof vest. Right, let's just make sure not to go too far out. The one thing that is disappointing on this Google Earth is when you do the sphere ones and get the little 360 tour, you end up being flung about when you zoom back out of it. Okay. What's going on here? Oh, it's the hunting one, isn't it? That's the Montello side, right? Yeah. You see how it gets a little bit confusing. Not much going on there. You got to take into mind certain areas because of the farmland. It might be restricted. They don't want people going there. Right, I don't know if I've been here already, but we might as well take a look. Bovine Mountains Devil Playground Recreation Area. That was the one last... Yeah, that was an interesting place to look at. So we will take a look at those little orbs in a second. As for where it says bovine, that reminds me of the person called Bivins, an individual called Bivins. No clue who they are. The shack lady brought it up in a previous video. She said she was going to get information on the person or something. I don't know if that actually happened. If any of you remember that, I don't know, leave a comment down below. But yeah, if we can look at these people tied, associated with the case, might help. But let's take a look at Devil's Playground if we haven't already, just to see, because it has been talked about, discussed previously to Dylan. So we can take a look here, boots on ground, and see what it's all about. Vehicle down there, probably the person that took the photo. parked up. Quite some mountains over that way. Not the best quality, so it's kind of hard to see. It doesn't even have to be mountains, right? It could be just a slight peak, slight little island effect like that there, with a few bumps and mounds in the ground. Shed there, but it looks too established for it to be used for any unusual activity. Yeah, can't see much at Devil's Playground. Probably more of a hiking place, right? Right. Let's check the one further up here. Because what you got to take in mind, these shots are kind of bridging in between Google Earth, obviously, map analysis, and boots on ground. It's in between. It's not up to date, but it's on ground, and you get a better visual look than looking at it bird's eye view. So, most of this landscape would still be here today, like the rocks, the mountains, maybe buildings as well. The only things that could change or move about are like the festival, what we saw, trailers, campers, them, people move about. But the actual natural landscape doesn't change too drastically, too rapidly. So we're okay in searching. Okay. We want to check the rocks out, if any odd structures, any disturbance to the land. Okay. Kenny Beach focused with rocks and everything like that. It's an interesting mountain, that. Very rocky, bumpy, spiky almost. And the lower rocks as well. Big slabs stuck up, similar shapes. Interesting. One thing I'm surprised I've not come across myself is the, what do they call it, paraphernalia? Or is that drugs? Oh, maybe I'm thinking of something else. I forgot what you call it. It's when you see faces in rocks which aren't real. You're just like imagining it, or it's like how you perceive things, but it's not like a real face. It's just the shape of a rock. Does that make sense? Hopefully. But this area is interesting with the rocks. They've all got certain characteristics about them and how they look visually. And you got to take this in mind as well. I know people might say, yeah, but if you're going a bit too far out, is Dylan going to be taken all the way down there? Possibly. Brenner's got a vehicle, right? He's got a truck, so he could easily transport Dylan away from the place. Not much of a struggle. Where's the other markers up here? Is that one on a peak? Looks like it. Okay. Not much going on here, to be fair. The sage, the vegetation is kind of similar, if not the same, to Dylan's land. Yeah, not much to really look at there. Back out of that. I don't know if the Shack Lady is watching. If they are, or watching afterwards, leave your thoughts. If there's any areas you think are important. We've already looked at that one, you remember, the lizard head. So we don't need to look back at that. Would ticking it off been more useful? Arguably, yes, but I can just do it from memory, really. Oh, wow. Look at this. All the rock structure in here, it's almost like an alternative version of Stonehenge. Oh, that looks like a hooded person there. I was wondering when something would kick in like that. And I know people were saying about the Jack Sparrow. You got to do a bit more of a British accent, which is kind of ironic because I am English, so I don't know why I was doing an American. But I think it's because when I did like the English accent that time, well, not that time because I'm speaking English all the time with the accent. It just doesn't sound right. So I said, hello. No, I can't get it out. You know, you're trying to do Captain Jack Sparrow. Polly, I am Captain Jack Sparrow. Now, I sound too posh. How do you do an English accent pirate? I'm trying to look for treasure. Like that. But then you got to... Do you have to sound drunk when you're doing it? I don't know. How do you do a drunk impression? I don't know. I've never been drunk. Hey, I'm kind of pissed right now. No, I've gone into American. Oh, for fuck's sake. I think with all this, all these American accents, I can't do any other voices now. Look at the shape of those. There's an X on that one. The shape of X. So yeah, this is definitely one of those points of interest places. Probably associated with Devil's Playground, I guess, within the area. So Devil's Playground there. The other dodgy stuff within this area here. Dylan's land, grain shed down here. So it's not an extreme like distance, I guess you want to call it that. Anything in part of alley? Graveyard maybe. Does Lucin have a cemetery? Should I check that whilst we're here? It is like a makeshift one. Lucin cemetery near Lucin Hill. Oh no, don't take me too far away. Montello Cemetery. Oh, I don't think we've looked at that. Terrace Cemetery in Utah. I mean. Oh wow, there is one. Wait. I was there. Oh wow. We just looked at that before. I had no clue. Well, there you go. Wow. Okay. Images. Good. We've got images. This will be a bit more relevant, okay? Hold on. Whoa, what's this? So, do you know, like when we're talking about cemeteries, and you know what? I think I'm actually going to do a standalone video on this, right? I really think it's worth doing so we don't get too cluttered, because there's no harm in repeating yourself here and there, but I think we need a dedicated video, okay? So, it could be my next video or the one afterwards. I'm gonna look. No, actually, I'm going to do Ogden next and the cemetery, and then I'm going to tie it all together. I'm going to do Park Valley Cemetery, I'm going to do Hazelton Cemetery, Ogden Cemetery, this cemetery, the Lucin one, Montello Cemetery. Just tie them all together, mark them out on the map as well so it's easier as a reference point, and then just, I don't know, try and come to some conclusion of it. Like, is there any where Chase has been, Brenner has been, any that Dylan is at? You know, that type of questioning. I think it's worth doing. I'll do a poll right now, okay? The poll can be something like, do you want to see a video dedicated to all the cemeteries, an all-in-one map analysis video, distance possibly, and just trying to understand, is there any that should be investigated? Is there any that haven't been? That type of stuff. You got a dog there, but I don't know if it's showing its face or its arse. It's hard to tell. Now, this section here is interesting. You know, once again, designated plot. Background, you got a small little cross there, and then right in the middle, you got a big one. So is that dedicated to a popular or an important person in the area? Does it represent one person or many within the community? I don't know. Have any of you seen this before? Let me know. Oh, here we go. Henry Cray, born State, New York, died 1899, so it's a while ago, 76. Kindle to begin, a mystery, death, but life weep not nor sigh. I don't understand. Don't know who that is, but it looks like it's only for one person. And then that there looks like a load of bricks, which is a bit odd. Yeah, bricks in the middle of nowhere. Is that another one? Is this anything to do with the railroad workers? Don't know if that's another grave or not. You got a small one there with a bit of wire wrapped around it and a few stones. So is the body buried underneath that, or is it ashes? Maybe it was sold. It's probably the body. Wow. There you go. Terrace Cemetery, 1869, CA. Is that California or circa 1910? I'll read it out. As the town grew, so too did the cemetery. Accidents, illness, and old age contributed to residents of Terrace being buried here. The cemetery has been slowly deteriorating, but was in fairly good condition until 1986, when vandals stole some of the headstones. Vandalism of grave sites is a continuing problem, both in our large cities where people topple or deface headstones and in remote locations such as this. Please help us protect this area by reporting any vandalism to the Box Elder County Sheriff or the Bureau of Landmark. Yeah, I'm sure that Box Elder County Sheriff are going to act on something like this. Not. Interesting though, talking about the vandalism, things being stolen, it's within the area of Lucin, I guess. Could Chase Venstra have visited this cemetery at some point and vandalised it? You don't know. You got an old, is that, I don't want to say it because I don't want to, is it Volkswagen? Is it Uberwash? I don't know. Was it Dash Auto? Volkswagen! I don't know. Could be. Oh, look at that one. That's like definitely a makeshift cross out of wire. That's different. When was that? 2017. You got the sign again. Bricks. Oh, you got two vans there. Interesting. Terrace. Bloody. Did someone shoot into that sign? It looks like bullet holes. Weird. But then again, I think people said it's normal there. Well, we'll just read it briefly, okay? Terrace, 702 miles from San Francisco. Terrace was the largest of the Central Pacific towns built in Utah. It was established in April 1869 as the maintenance and repair headquarters for the entire Salt Lake Division. The railroad facilities here included an 8-track switchyard and a 16-stall roundhouse and a water tank. And then it goes on to say the population centre supported businesses, stores, a school, public bath, and a justice of peace who also ran a saloon. Although all the water had to be piped in by an aqueduct constructed by Chinese work crews, there were tree-lined streets in the residential area and a nice town square. At its peak, town site had a population of about 1,000 people, including around 500 Chinese occupants. The Chinese were generally excluded from the census and some tallies counted registered voters only. Terrace was almost completely dependent on the railroad and began on inevitable decline after the Lucin cutoff was completed in 1904. There also appears to have been a serious fire in the early 20th century which has hastened the process. The fire was possibly caused by a collision between two trains, one carrying explosive black powder. Black powder. Extensive whatever of the town can still be seen, including the turntable depression, remnants of the roundhouse stalls, cellar depressions, and the cemetery to the east. Please do not disturb these historic resources so others may enjoy them. So, okay, that's a bit of history of the area. Terrace, okay. There's another like grave site angle. The sign again. Yeah. Oh, don't know what that's of. Another monument or grave, headstone. Bear in mind if some of them are missing because people have stolen them, they've probably not been replaced. And there you go. So yeah. Definitely need to take a look at the cemeteries someday, right? I think it's worthwhile. Let's click that off. Montello. Well, we can look deeper into the Montello one, as said, with the markers. I think it'll be one of those things though where I'll have to manually type it in the search bar when I do it, because even placing markers down, the official markers disappear, and it's the official markers you click on which then reveals photos of the place. Kind of like with the airport situation, when we're looking at the airport of Lucin, that's like it's in place. It doesn't disappear, it remains there in blue, and you click on it and then it's got a bit of information on a photo. Though, if you were looking at the airport in Montello, which is more of a makeshift one, I believe, it doesn't show up on the map. You've got to type it in yourself and then it will come up with pictures. So the same will probably apply to the cemetery. That's if there is photos of it, but we'll find out someday, okay, don't worry. Anywhere down here? To be fair, I think we have looked at most of them. I guess the final few will be the ones down here, near Graham Peak from a different angle, okay? And then we'll wrap the video up there, if that's okay with you. Appreciate it if you're still here present watching the video. It is understandable that some people might be a little confused as to the relevance and the significance of these videos. It's to provide on-ground footage, media of the area so you can become more familiar with it. It might re-jog people's memory. Sure, you do have people out there exploring themselves, the boots on ground, whether it be right now or in the past, but they would have only looked at certain places. These peaks can definitely provide a good point of view, good field of view, moreover, as you can see. It might even reveal something of interest, whether it be an object, an item, building, rocks, who knows? Anything's possible. So yeah. Not much going up there, too steep to be hiding anything. Still not seen the chop shop or much out there in the open. No, disappointing. I guess it's just trying to understand where was it, because it's difficult to find at times. I know it was east, definitely east. And it was where there was like lots of holes as well in the ground almost, but it could be one of those things where the processing might be limited on this. It just doesn't look as clear as what I've previously done. That's kind of a shame. Oh, it was these, right, wasn't it? Oh, there's a heart there, almost. And it was somewhere down here. It looked like a collection of trees, didn't it? Is it that? Nope. Is it that? Yes, I found it. Good. Right, if I can just zoom out, is there any markers nearby? Oh, there isn't, is there? That one dot there, and there's no like orbs around. That is so frustrating. Absolutely nothing at all. Wait, what's the closest we can do? We need to get onto a peak, don't we? And we need to be looking that way in the distance. So if we go back, if we go on Desert Peak, will this work? Because all we have to do is look across the lake, don't we? To see if we can find a chop shop. Have we been here already? I don't... Oh, I think we have been. Is it somewhere over there? It's too unclear, isn't it? Can't really make out any dots or anything, really. Nothing low ground. It's definitely across one of the lakes. But the quality of it is lacking. That's a shame, that. As it depends the timing of when the chop shop appeared and disappeared and who took the photo when and when. Yeah, that's annoying. That isn't that typical? Typical how the key locations you want to look at and get up close, there's no markers nearby. The same exact thing happened with Kenny Veach. When going back in time, looking at the dates, really looking extensively for Kenny's house, key dates were missing. When looking at the healing store, such as the break-in, key dates were missing. When looking near to Picture Canyon or, way out there in the Mojave Desert, near the Desert Wildlife National Refuge Centre, key dates missing there. It was so frustrating. It was like, it's almost done on purpose in a way to try and hide the truth. It was a shame. Yeah, that is a bit annoying, to be fair. Did anyone... so people talk about Scottish people, right? On the spot randomly. I tried doing a Scottish accent in the past and it sounded okay, I think. Maybe more like Shrek. It's like, "Donkey, get out the swamp. We're going to Volcano Peak. That sun is blinding my eyes. It's terrible. What's going on right here? Get out of my swamp, donkey." That type of Scottish accent. One of those things where sometimes you do impressions of someone and you end up sounding like somebody else. So then you indirectly learn a different one. So it can work out. Place like this, very rocky and uneven, and don't know how they managed to get up here. Is that Wendover down that way? Part of it, maybe? It's hard to tell. Looks like it. Something over there. Oh no, there isn't. It must be part of Wendover. It doesn't look like it because there's not enough buildings, but... Oh, over that way. I see. Yeah. I get it. I think we'll leave it there, to be fair, because there's only so much you can look at, right? What's the closest one? Enola Gay Hangar. What's a gay hangar? Why does it not show what? Why is it not working? Okay, let's turn it off for a second because it's spazzing out. What's a gay hangar? Get off. Notice. So it's called, if that twat gets off the screen, off. Right, so whatever. You got some military Air Force jet. So Enola Gay Hangar. What, are the planes gay as well? Why are you gay? Why are you gay? Atomic mission. It's definitely run down. That looks abandoned as well. Interesting. Not too much to look at, really. Just like, you get the idea. The gay hangar. Right, we'll leave it there, okay? Right, so I think I've covered most of those orbs which you saw within Lucin and Montello. Maybe there could be some further afield, Montello, Elko County, I guess we'll maybe take another look at a point in time. It was interesting though with Terrace, that little town, abandoned old railroad community. You know, we've heard about it becoming a ghost town. You get an idea of certain areas nearby which were impacted with time. So interesting. And I guess that old railroad, that railway track, what we saw, the abandoned one, you remember, that might have been to do with it, which was disconnected because you can see like a main railway track more in use now. So maybe that isolation didn't help. But that side, it did give me the idea of the graveyards to look at that in a standalone video. That can be of use, most definitely. Group it all together so it's not too sparse. It's the thing, sometimes when I do cover videos and let's say some important points are found within, questions, findings, pictures, whatever, I do refer back to them at a later date and even combine them together with other findings as well as standalone videos if they're that important, and I think the graveyards are kind of. So map them all out, analyse, and that video will be coming at some point, as well as another video where taking it into mind suggestions of people where certain locations need to be investigated, explored, which have not been yet for whatever reason. We can look more into that at another point, okay? So there's a few videos still to do, coverage of Dillon rounds, right? So no problem there. And yeah, I think that's all I can say right now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video and goodbye for now.